I'm always so pleased with myself when I can go in and flex a little bit of Korean that I know at the Korean store, and then try to get the fuck out of there before they want to have a real conversation. I was reading the Honolulu Civil Beat, which is like a local news sort of aggregator. Maybe not aggregator, but they're like a news source of some kind. They have a presence on Twitter, and they have like their own website. It's probably the only place, the only news source locally I follow, because it seems the least corporatized, and it's also, it feels anyway, like it's a bit more centrist, and there's the least amount of propaganda, so I like reading them. But they, a commenter had said something about how they have a program that they've been sending back homeless people that they find on the street, because I did a video not too long ago about the how I was finding shopping carts around. And I found one the other day too. Actually, I found a few more. I usually take pictures of them. Sometimes I don't. But that one night in that video, I went out and found 3 of them in a row, just full carts, no people. And he was saying that now when they have a run-in with these guys, they send them back to where they come from, which I thought maybe that might have been the answer, but I looked more into the program, and it doesn't really do that. It's very slow. Their idea is that you have to be reunited with families. They aren't just picking you up and shooting you back there. So I think the question of what's happening to them is still out there. Although, this isn't like any kind of like crusade or big interest for me. I looked into this kind of stuff a long time ago, many years ago. Not this exact homeless people vanishing in Honolulu, but the trade that I think it has something to do with. And it's really there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there's anything you can do about it. It's kind of a dead end. Like, what are you going to do? It runs the world. It runs the world. And it's dark. And it's hard to kind of grapple with that whole industry, especially when it comes to kids and stuff like that, which is a huge part of it. They're more valuable. But the trade definitely is a thing that goes on here. The Chinese are really good at it. They take those poor Falun Dafa people that I talk to over on Kalakau all the time. They're always ripping stuff out of them. It's pretty crazy. But they have that down. And they have a large population here, and they have a lot of industry here and business here. So one would just assume, perhaps that maybe have something to do with it. Perhaps that's connected in some way. I think I've taken this whole human trafficking reporting, or just not even reporting, just pontificating. I wonder what's going on. I know what's going on, but I was just specifically trying to figure out exactly how it goes with the homeless people. Like, do they just swing up in a van and throw them in there? And that was I think it was a Thursday night there when I saw 3 of them together. And I don't know. Yeah, it's not that program though. It's certainly not. That thing is slow, and there's a lot of factors that have to be in place for them to send you back. They need to send you back to people that are waiting for you. No one's waiting for some of these assholes. No way. And a couple of people in the comments pointed out rightly that a lot of times what it is how you doing is just people trying to escape something on mainland. Like I've said here, they're just their own community just gets so tired of their bullshit that they had to get out of there. And there's also that thing of people that just come here because they have weird thoughts about this place. Like I remember a guy that was I was talking to in the comments on one of my videos about about homelessness. He'd moved here and was just planning to like live off the land, is what he was saying. He wants to know where the mango trees were. I'm like, I don't know. I know they have some, but I don't know where. And in his mind, he was thinking he's just going to come here and just like live. He said he wanted to live self-sufficiently, like just live without having to burden anyone or anything, and just like live here and sleep outside and eat mangoes and charge his phone, you know, and have a place to wash his clothes. And there's a small list of other things. But so I don't think that's rare where people have that idea. You know, the way it's portrayed in the media, and that has a lot to do with the travel industry, is that it's just like this island paradise, and it is, you know. But it's also set up like anywhere else. It's not just this big island with trees everywhere and you can just walk and go where you want. I mean, there are, you know, counties and towns and neighborhoods and financial districts and everything else. It's and there are beaches, but I mean, some beaches are more for tourists, others are more for locals. You know, you just have to kind of know where to go to. You don't want to encroach on anyone's space. It's not like, I think in his head, and I don't think he's the only one, he was just imagining like beach and like trees with fruit on it, and just he was just gonna live here. I don't know what happened to him. I was talking to him for a little bit, and I know he ended up in Chinatown. The last time I had heard from him on the channel, he was in Chinatown, where a lot of people do end up, because it's just easy down there. There's a lot of people living that kind of lifestyle, the nomadic lifestyle. There's a lot of resources there. There's a lot of doctors there, access to mental health services, drugs. I haven't been there in a while, though. This is probably the longest I've gone since I've lived here that I haven't been down to Chinatown. I used to be there all the time. I just loved it down there. And yeah, it was a little bit rough in places, a little dirty in some places, but the history there and just, it was great. I loved it. I had friends that lived down there. They ended up moving. And so I kind of stopped going down there because, I don't know, I feel weird just going down by myself, you know. But I heard it's cleaned up quite a bit. I heard they've had this whole thing where they were planting trees and... What's going on here? Oh, okay. I didn't know where that was coming from. Oh, he's not talking to anybody. He's just... I don't think that's demonic activity because he's talking too normal. He's just having a conversation with someone that's not there. The demonic people, the people that have the demons there, there's a lot of gibberish, a lot of grunting. You can get some Latin words here and there. This guy's just like yelling about conservatives and stuff. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He may have been talking to someone over there and thinks he's still talking to them. Maybe he walks along and he's gone now. Yeah, there's a difference between people just being shouty and demonic entities. You can tell. Well, I can tell. You know, I can tell immediately just by the way the voice is. You know, I've said that before when I've run into people like that here. I'm like, oh, there's one right here. You can tell. You just, I don't know, maybe you feel it on some level. I don't know. But yeah, so the jury's still out for me on how that that thing's happening where they just seem to take them from their carts. It's like they pull up, excuse me, it's like they pull up in like a van or something and just like yank them off the street. Because they, like I said a million times, they don't leave those things there, especially when they're full of stuff. You know what I mean? They don't walk away from any of that stuff. That's their stuff, you know? They're really territorial about that and protective of it, you know? So I don't know. I don't plan on going on and on about this. There's no point to that. You're not going to solve anything. I was more just kind of wondering how they do it. The why, I mean, you know, I think we know the why. But, yeah, I don't need anybody knocking on my door over it. You know? I don't need people knocking on my door over anything. No one. It's funny too, because back then, I was talking to a friend of mine, like, who's my age, right? And we were talking about back in like the day, in the 80s, or even earlier, or even up until the 90s, you just had people drop by your house. You know, and it was cool. People wouldn't even call first. You know, just kind of come by. Now it's I don't know what would have to happen for me to answer a knock at my door. I hear a knock at my door that I'm not expecting, and I'm going into corners and pulling out weapons and being very quiet, turning the music off, you know, getting in a defensive position, putting pants on, you know. Yeah, I don't want anybody knocking on my door. So that's it. But I'll continue to take pictures of them when I see them. And it's just not anything I ever expect to get to the bottom of. And ultimately, like, you know what's at the bottom. You know what's at the bottom. It's nothing any good. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.